As the empire became more established, part of the focus turned from outward growth to inward development. That is, as Mansa Musa consolidated what Sundiata had conquered, and as he consolidated what he himself had contributed to what would be Mali. So that in this context of support, the development of Timbuktu's educational tradition flourished and began to play a vital role in the development of arts and sciences. So the Mansa contributed to this tradition by attracting scholars from other Islamic centers to Timbuktu and sending people from his empire to study in Morocco and Egypt. The settlers from Ouagadougou, that is, many of the people who left Ouagadougou after it fell, they moved to Timbuktu. So rather than just dispersing, many of those scholars moved to Timbuktu and they became the professors in the universities, and they became the judges, the people who administered many aspects of the society. The settlers commanded considerable knowledge and wealth, along with the international networks of trade and political alliances. The men of learning became the guardians of the city, the mosques, the schools, the shrines, and the sacred history of the city. So that there were, so there's a number of very important mosques inside of Timbuktu. One is called the Friday Mosque, the other one is called Sankore Mosque, and there's a couple of others which were built during this time as well. So these mosques were, Sankore, which was already there, was refortified by Mansa Musa, but Djengerebe, which is the Friday Mosque, was built by an architect from Cairo who Mansa Musa hired to come there and build this mosque. And the mosque served also as a madrasa. It served also as a place of learning, an educational institution. And so when Mansa Musa would build these mosques, he would also provide for intellectuals to come and be at the mosque as a way of educating the general public about what was going on. Okay. Now I think I've gone to about where I wanted to go, but let me end with one note. So in the film, let me tell you about what I do in the film. I showed the film in various festivals during the pandemic around the world, and it got a very interesting reception. Some of it we've taken into consideration as we kind of finalize what we will do with it. But one of the distinct things we got out of it is this idea of how people in this part of the world remember their history, and how important that remembering of their history is for understanding who they are and for understanding how they see their future going forward. And to the ability to look at both the material culture, and in this case it's in the architecture, and the way that people preserve this architecture as both a community project of construction, but also as a community project of remembering, a community project of establishing what has happened and what can happen. Was the beauty of the narrative. So part of it is Mansa Musa was wealthy, yes, but he was wealthy as the empire, as his empire was wealthy. He was wealthy because his empire was wealthy. And so, you just like you probably could look at some place like Saudi Arabia and say that the prince who is there now is one of the wealthiest men in the world. Maybe he's a trillionaire by virtue of him having access to the resources of his kingdom. Well, Mansa Musa was the richest man in the world because he had access to the wealth of his kingdom. And he used that wealth to further learning, to further the religious practice of Islam, but to also provide a venue in which the city of Timbuktu could be a center of education, you know, having as many as 20,000 students studying there at the various mosques at some points, and then having a very intimate connection with the other centers of Islamic learning, whether it was in Morocco or in Cairo or in other parts of the world at that time. Thank you very much. I think I'm going to stop there and we can have a conversation if you have questions or statements, and I can go further. Thank you.